That's why we see them really just always keep flexibility in the drafts. They never want to slam a hero pick that's going to feel too awful. And this is the first time we're seeing the Doom. Okay, some new stuff coming out from really both sides. But I think this does sort of mean to me that this is going to be a 4 Pango, which isn't bad. It's one of the best heroes at pulling those creep waves if this Timbersaw is sort of getting shut out in lane. But we're still waiting to see Tomato's hero, so it's kind of hard to tell what he's going to want. And at the same time, for Zoomers, it feels like they do need a Sammy Boy hero. While they do have that flexibility and they're sending the Leshrac top, you are making the call if you're Undying that Gunner has his hero already. This is the easiest way they could finish off their draft. Let's look for a Sammy Boy hero.
We see them taking that Wraith King out of the pool already. But that Doom pick is an interesting one. Not a hero we've seen all that often, but in theory, Doom is going to be effective against really any of the heroes that we were looking at as cores, the Lesh through the Pango. All just sort of get immediately taken out of that fight if they do get hit up by the Doom. Their damage, their durability, even the mobility for the Timber and the Pango becomes basically non-existent. So in this scenario, it does feel like he's going to have really no way to get a bad Doom off. If he hits anyone, it's going to be relatively effective. So Undying looking for that little bit of extra lockdown, just hoping that they can take somebody out of the fight between the Doom and the Ancient Apparition coming in with the Ice Blast. Zoomers may want to be a little bit careful about how they approach these fights, but we still have to see, still have to see exactly what they're looking for in that carry option. As you mentioned, Undying are just sort of assuming Sammy doesn't have his hero just yet. So the Wraith King taken out here first. Starting to run a little bit low on time there for the final ban, and they don't make one. Okay.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Maybe that's tactical. Let's say it's tactical, and 4 Zoomers are going to only have one ban, and both teams know which heroes they want to pick. But honestly, I don't even know if I've ever heard of something like that happening, where you literally don't want to ban because the heroes are so clear in your head what you want, and you want to force the enemy team to only take out one. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's not a thing. I feel like it's always better to just take out a hero that you might feel threatened by, but who knows in the upper echelon of drafting for these teams. But I like the Doom a lot. Really, once he gets that Aghanim Scepter, that's where this Timbersaw does sort of cry, because you have that break, because you have that very annoying ability. But at the same time, you're going to have very long cooldowns. That's going to be a pretty big window. And if the Leshrac is very simply able to just walk away, regroup with the Enchantress, you do have that heal. So the damage isn't really going to be the biggest aspect of that Doom. It really is more or less going to be, can I lock down this hero enough that they can't escape so my Tiny can burst combo them in the AA Blast? Because they have a fantastic damage on the Undying side. Control, that's a different issue. Most of that is going to fall onto the Tiny shoulders, and they're very simply just going to go for Jug, and makes complete sense. Can lane versus the Timbersaw, you really banned out all of the good carries versus... I mean, literally all the good carries in the game versus Timbersaw are sort of taken out at this point. So now I really wonder what Sammy Boy's going to end up playing, because it does feel like none of those S-tier heroes are back in the pool. And I don't think you could pick something like Lifestealer. That would probably feel pretty bad. I mean, the Medusa's still in the game, but again, it's a little bit risky, because if you get doomed up, you are going to be sort of caught in a really bad situation, especially versus Tiny. You're just going to get tossed back. But okay, more TBs. It's not a bad hero. He's got to be so careful when he spins. If he ever spins out of position, once Sammy Boy gets that Scotty, he's just going to start shredding him.
Yeah, and it really seemed like, oh, you were talking about the Medusa, the only options left in the pool were sort of those hyper carry options. The Medusa, the TB, the Naga Siren, everything else just was going to feel kind of bad, or was just straight up unavailable. So 4 Zoomers will be going for it, and I mean, that gives them that sort of later game option that Undying, it really doesn't feel like they have. The Juggernaut can scale relatively well, but the TB is going to outpace him pretty much every single time. So if this does end up going late, 4 Zoomers feel like they're going to be in a slightly better position. And yeah, we can't confirm. It is Ocean on that position for Pango, Timbersaw off lane, Leshrac mid. So sort of what you were, what you were anticipating based on sort of earlier points in the draft. So I don't know, this looks relatively okay for 4 Zoomers. I think they just need to be careful about that burst damage on the other side. That combo, the Doom into the Ice Blast with Brile sort of getting in for the nuke damage is really, as of right now, the biggest sort of direct threat to them, and they can handle that. It feels like their team fight's going to be strong enough to get them through it.
And really, it's going to be on Dubu Brow. How these team fight starts are going to be so important because for Zoomers, something they've sort of drafted up with this TB is there are really 3 or 4 Doom targets on the enemy team. So depending on the decision that Saberlight makes, it's going to be incredibly important for Undying. If he locks down the wrong hero, if he gets the Doom out on someone that's just going to simply walk away from you, like the TB, you really need to assess and think very carefully because as soon as you use that Doom and if 4 Zoomers have that meta, they're immediately going to push into your base. We have less TB. The pushing power is 100% there, and this Timbersaw is just going to stand in front of these heroes. And can you blow sort of a Doom on Ocean? Because he really is the only lockdown for his team. Is that something that Saberlight's going to need to contend with? I think who's getting doomed and when they're getting doomed is going to be incredibly important for the Undying side. At the same time, I hope Brow is going to be able to put out on this Tiny. We've seen Tiny sort of fall flat, fall short in that sort of 20-25 minute lull where it feels a lot harder to make plays versus teams that simply group up. So I hope that Brow will be able to find those picks, find those openings, sort of get in there, get his job done, and get out. And yeah, I think, again, though, the pressure really is on Saberlight for me this game. Depending on how good his decisions are is really where Undying's team fight sort of begins and falls.
If he's not getting that Doom onto the right target or a sort of good target for them in general, then the follow-up really is, I suppose, still technically capable of being there. It's just not going to be nearly as effective. So a lot of pressure on him to sort of start these off, hit up that right target, and try to get them into a strong position. As we see 4 Zoomers going for the smoke for wards here, dropping one down in that middle lane. Meanwhile, the other thrown up here in the jungle, directly on top of a pre-existing ward, though, by maybe a couple of seconds. So just going to sort of share that high ground spot as both sides now have vision over the north side jungle. But just early warding, no sort of funny business here. No one's really going to be looking for the fight this early on.
Yeah, and it's something we've talked about a lot, just uncharacteristic for these NA teams to really draft themselves a very strong level 1 and sort of scuffle. They want to keep the region they bought going into their lanes. They never really want to put them in a position where, oh, maybe I have to walk back to base, maybe I need to sort of head out, because everybody's so strong at laning in NA. If you miss maybe half a level to 75% of the way towards that level 2, the enemy team always punishes you. They always hit their level 2 and then immediately start running at you while they have their advantage. So even though right clicks, heroes are sort of getting bopped, nice little stun. I think that's going to be 3 runes for 4 Zoomers.
Yes, indeed. Brack should be grabbing up that last one, or maybe not, just going to leave it. How close is Gunner? He is going for that sort of initial bottle, so maybe they do try to leave it. See if he can sort of get the bottle delivered, immediately use the charges, and then refill it on that rune, or Ocean could just take it himself. Overthinking it a little on my end. Ocean will just grab it. Brax didn't really want to stop to pick it up himself. So 3 of the 4 bounties to 4 Zoomers. Not a massive advantage, but it's better than nothing. As we get this laning stage underway, taking a look at the top lane first. Brax getting hit up a little bit here, and this is always the interesting part of this lane right at the start. The Timber with the chain at level 1 obviously doesn't have the reactive armor. So if you're Tomato and Dubu, you can try to maybe play up on him a little bit more, get those chilling touches in early. Tomato is really not going to be overly interested in fighting unless he has a guaranteed kill opportunity. In fact, we see him just not even skilling up anything right now. So just waiting to see what happens. There it is. Okay.
Just waiting to see if he wanted the healing ward level 1. Makes complete sense. He's just hitting him. The real crazy thing would be if you get Blade Dance at level 2, but hitting Brax, it just feels good.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a situation where Brax got pretty massively out of position, maybe the Blade Fury comes in, but that opportunity doesn't immediately present itself, so Tomato just wants the ward, and Brax wants the ward too. He's trying to track it down here, and not able to get it.
Just timed out.
Meanwhile, well, Ocean, this is what you sort of wanted this position for Pangolier for. He's able to pull that wave back, gets it in between the towers. Trying to sort of hit his level 2 as quickly as he can. He's actually going to even hold
Does he get the
aggro.
back of the wave? Ooh.
Maybe 1 extra melee creep there, but
if you can get the range, it's still not the worst. This is something that we really saw Jerax, I think, popularize specifically with the Pangolier, where you just have that super safe swashbuckle. You don't eat as much damage as the other 4 heroes. Really, the only other hero better at it is Nyx Assassin, just because you have that inherent base regen. But Ocean's being really obnoxious. If he can stop the small camp pull, then all of this XP is just going to start going towards
He
the
is
way of
going
the
to take
Timber.
a
But
bit of
Ocean,
damage.
he's dead.
Wow. Yeah, that
Yeah.
verifier, that's not going to do you much good. He's still taken down. Tomato able to get the kill. Point up in the Blade Fury, just spins his way forward, knowing your Pango swashbuckled in to try and prevent that pull. So,
A lot of XP, though. Brax is
yeah.
very, very happy. He's got 3 range creeps coming. Dubu got half the wave, though, so it's going to be up to Brax if he's able to drag any more. But still, you're giving your Timbersaw solo XP. You got level 2, sort of just sapping it yourself, so shouldn't be any more deaths still, I think, in this top lane. They should just be a little bit too mobile for the Undying side to be able to take out. But greed has gotten the better of NA players many, many times.
And at the end of the day, that death not going to be too bad for 4 Zoomers, but it is the first blood bonus into your Juggernaut's hands on the other side. So they're going to certainly be happy about that as Ocean on a bit of a race. Ooh, good play from Tubu going for the deny. Able to take that bounty rune away. So he's not faster, but he doesn't need to be. The projectile hits it up first, and Ocean unfortunately used the swashbuckle for nothing there. But back in the lane itself, Tomato's starting to take a little bit of damage, but I don't really think this matters. He's got the Blade Fury, he's got the healing ward. He's just going to be able to sort of fall back whenever he wants and just sort of shrug off any of that damage as Dubu once again got the pull off here. So Ocean, he's doing his best, but I think he's only getting to maybe 1 out of 3 on some of these early pulls in terms of actually denying them.
Yeah, and it's just Dubu's so good. Whenever he's in this AA as well, he's just that little bit more obnoxious. Was able to get those early boots up as well. Hasn't had to worry about Tomato giving him as heavy regen as set as we've seen some other 5 players where they just spam salves on their carry. Tomato's been relatively independent in that regard, but Brax just playing up in the lane a bit was able to make enough space for Ocean to get the pull off and just not really pull at all, to be honest, just sort of farming the wave. And if these creep waves don't meet, yeah, okay, Brax is just going to take a full double wave under tower. So this is still pretty advantageous for Zoomers, and all this XP is going on your Timber, so I'm just accelerating that level 6 even more.
Yeah, he's just honestly loving the spot he's in right now. No direct pressure can be applied to him. He's just going to sit here and farm. He's going to trust that Ocean won't get into so much trouble that he has to sort of intervene. So life is good for the Timber. Meanwhile, over on the other side of the map, that TB farming up relatively well as well. 23 last hits for Sammy here. Saberlight and Moon are not really in the position right now to go onto him. They are going to try to hit up Husky a little bit there with the Bushwhack, but the Enchantress should be falling back. Said Enchantress, though, no points up in the attendance just yet, so they don't quite have that extra sort of regen and durability, but it really feels like in this lane, Saberlight is just going to have to sit and wait. I don't know if he has too many opportunities. Moonmeander is obviously trying to harass, but Doom is not exactly known for massive amounts of early aggression in most of these lanes.
Yeah, and you see he's saving up a skill point in case he would need to deny a TP with that Infernal Blade, but really up until you get that second or third point up in Scorched Earth, yeah, I was going to say, hopefully he skills up Scorched Earth, should be a little bit better. And Moon actually TP'd mid. It looks like they made a pass onto the Tiny with the Pangolier, but not being level 6 on Leshrac, looks like Brow's gotten the upper hand of him a little bit in this lane. Just has that increased damage coming from the tree grab, so not even really Gunner's fault, but both of them are going to hit their level 6 now, and we might see them get a little bit more aggressive, but I think Moon just walked underneath tower and gave away the fact that he was sitting mid.
I think so. Just a step too forward there, so Gunner should know what's up. But now it's just going to be a fight for the runes. Oh, okay, not much of a fight. Brow just guessed correctly, and he bottles it up. So, Illusion Rune in his hand. Moonmeander, meanwhile, looking like he's going to be making his way back down towards that bottom lane. But, I don't know. Down bot, it just feels like there's not a whole lot he can do right now, but he can't really hang out mid any longer as the Leshrac is rotating his way top. Looking for the potential kill onto the Juggernaut. This is going to be a tough kill for them to get, but maybe they have the damage to break through. They're going to drop that ward behind the tower.
They're making the call because the card's here, and Tomato, he has to TP soon.
Yeah,
okay,
nice. Just
nice.
getting out. Smart call there from the Jug, just going to get away, but as you said, the card is now here, so they're not able to get the Juggernaut, but they can go for the objective. Gunner's in. He's got the Edict at level 3. Meanwhile, Bryle pushes his way onto Ocean, who is just trying to soak up some experience mid. That is a 4-man rotation from Undying to get that kill, but they do get it, and they
Here
should
comes
just
the Timber.
I was going to say should be trading out towers, but yeah, with Brax here, maybe he can hold it. Tomato's not looking so hot health-wise, but he does have that healing ward down, but I'm not sure that they get this. Brax is just going to sort of keep that chakram out there. He takes away the creep wave, and Undying are really going to have to commit if they want it. Ryle's trying to get in.
Nice.
Okay. Able to make it happen. Husky now rotating over. They're going to get the slow onto Dubu. He's looking for the TP home, and he should be able to get out. Ryle not even taking any chances. He'll throw out the avalanche just to make sure Brax wasn't going to get in there for any nuke damage before Dubu got himself away.
Yeah, and it's very clean, especially Tomato being very, very calm, not worried about that Edict coming in from the Lesh. They push in that mid tower, and really, I think Undying get ahead there. You get to rotate your Jug out. He doesn't feel under too much pressure. He actually walks all the way back top, farms a creep wave after that wave is all the way pushed in by that Lesh rack, so he has this relatively safe farm. His TP's back up already as well, and again, it's these sort of fast decisions being made by both sides that it's the little leads, it's the little tick-ups, and now Saberlight's level 6, so probably see Sammy Boy show a lot less in lane, doesn't want to give up any deaths.
Yeah, starting to rotate himself into the jungle here already on that Terrorblade, so just really standard stuff on the TB. If Undying want him, they're going to have to go looking for him, so see if they actually do that. The smoke play comes through, but Bryle's going to pause the game here real quick, so not 100% sure what was going on there, but they do have both Bryle and Dubu smoked up. Unfortunately, right now they're kind of going in different directions. Don't know if they plan on linking back up here or what's going on with this one, but there we go. Dubu's now making his way a little bit further to the south, and they might just go looking for that TB. They've got the Avalanche. The toss is only level 1, but I don't know. Maybe they could still make it happen, but right now they don't actually really have any vision on Sammy Boy. They don't know where he is. They're just pushing into the bottom lane, and they're not going to run into anything more than some illusions, but still going.
They are going to pop on him on the camp. I don't think they have enough damage without the AA blast, but okay. Bryle just popped him, actually. I guess with the Ice Vortex, they were just able to complete... Wow. He just clubbed the tree and got immediately onto him. There wasn't even any illusion shenanigans. That was really clean.
Surprisingly clean. We were both sort of looking at that one thinking, what else do they need to find the kill? Apparently the answer was nothing. They're just able to get it. Sammy goes down, and really not a sort of position he could afford to really lose his life in, but they're going to have to deal with that setback. 3 straight kills on the board here for Undying, and now this is where things might get a little bit awkward. We've got about 3 or 4 heroes for Forzoomer sitting in this north side jungle, while Undying are kind of slowly bringing people over. The Hoodwink is already sort of holding under the tower, so they're aware of the presence of most of these opposing heroes, but they really need some sort of decisive action at this point. They would need maybe the Juggernaut or the Tiny to TP in, and without that TP, they're just going to sort of back away. So they save the tower, but they've still got 4 Zoomers sort of hanging out in their jungle trying to take some of these camps away from them.
Yeah, and that's where we are going to see the Jug. I absolutely love this from Tomato, seeing him rotate into the TB's jungle, having these small wards. They're not giving the most vision, but they're very unlikely to be dewarded, as you do kind of have to put them on the cliff. You have to put them in sort of different positions. So they need to make a play at this mid tower. I think if your 4 Zoomers collapse from inside the jungle and try to make a play here, but really they've always had someone here to hold the wave, to keep it off and just be that little bit more obnoxious. So they are just biding their time, waiting for these timings, and 100 gold away from that Blink Dagger on the Tiny. That's when we're really going to see them start to cook. But this is a lot of space that you are giving towards Sammy Boy, that he is just sort of farming up in his triangle. You can't really do Ancients just yet on the Juggernaut. Maybe once he has that Maelstrom, he'll be able to be a little bit more confident, but that's where we'll see the TB sort of pull ahead a little bit. Even though he is behind slightly on net worth, Sammy Boy, you're going to get a little bit more levels, a little bit more XP killing those ancient creeps.
Yeah, he is still building himself up, very nearly done with that sort of Dragon Lance as his first major item. So see how quickly he progresses beyond that point. But as you mentioned, that Tiny was closing in on the Blink. He's got it up now, so Bryle is really going to look to sort of be that pace-setting hero for Undying, try to make some moves here.
The AA blast.
It is. They're in onto the Timber. Brax is going to get hit up. Can he take Chain away? Well, he can, but he does still get hit by the Ice Blast, but he's so far... far away that he was going to be okay. Unless that Sharpshooter hit had actually connected, then he could have been in some trouble, but he's going to be able to sort of sidestep it there. Slightly off the mark aim-wise for Moonmeander, but... I mean, that's a decent attempt onto the Timbersaw, and if the Sharpshooter hits, I feel like that probably would have been enough to get the kill. So they know they're at least capable of catching Brax off guard and having the damage to bring him down. It's just going to be about aim and execution for them next time.
Yeah, and just having that sort of disconnect, I don't think Moon was close enough to get that bushwhack off. But now Sammy, oh boy.
He's got to step back. The Ice Blast just barely misses, and now here comes Brax into the fight, but well, he threw
Ocean
everything
too.
he had out there. But yeah, Ocean wants in. There's going to be the Rolling Thunder. They're getting in onto Brile. Can they bring the Tiny down? Yes, they can. They're looking for the Ancient Apparition here as well. Dubu doesn't have the Ice Blast, but you might as well take him out of the fight, as they will be able to bring him down. They get the Tier 1 tower. Now they're in onto Moon as well. That, wow, it feels like, honestly, it feels like Moon should not have been really caught out there, but he's just a little bit too far forward still after the tower falls, and 4 Zoomers are directly onto him. 3 kills and the Tier 1 mid, and all of a sudden, I mean, the early momentum that Undying had been sort of putting together is not completely gone, but it's certainly sapped away significantly with that play from 4 Zoomers.
And again, we see it sort of, we always see it whenever we see this Timber Saw picked up. You use that Ice Blast, he says, hey, they used Ice Blast. I'm going to Timber Chain in, do, 60% of that Tiny's health in 3 spells, and now you're pretty sad if you're this Tiny, because if you do use that combo on someone that isn't this Timbersaw, Brax can just have a field day. You also just had the immediate collapse. Gunnar was already making his way over. He's immediately there with the Diabolic Edict, just taking these towers, and now if 4 Zoomers are allowed to play on their side of the map while Undying sort of farm up in these bad matchups, then this is pretty bad for them. And that is something that up until Saberlight maybe gets his Blink Dagger, which he's working on after his Midas. Of course, you want the Midas, you want to keep up with these other cores, and you'll see, again, he is doomed. He is at the top of the net worth chart, but it's incredibly hard for him to approach. Once that roll goes down, he really doesn't have a fantastic way to get into these fights and find those targets. If there was a Doom there, maybe on the Timbersaw right after it started off, but top,
they're going in on the Moon Meander, going to be able to take him down. Ice Blast, though, coming
he's
in.
trying,
Saberlight.
but
He wants forward as well to get
20.
the Infernal. Now there's Brile in for the Avalanche Toss combo. Gunnar, though, able to survive it. But Tomato's here as well. They really do want this engagement. And Brax is very low on HP. He's going to try to Timber Chain himself away. And for now,
nice chain.
Yeah, he's out. Can't lock him down. They can't prevent that chain. And Undying, I mean, they try, but they just can't really get it. They did need that Doom. Saberlight didn't have it available, as you said. And without that lockdown, there's not enough for them to get that kill. So if you're 4 Zoomers, you're happy with that. You get the quick pick onto Moon Meander, and you back everybody away before there's really any sort of significant response. Now, Saberlight, thought
Bottom,
about it.
Moon?
Went for the Doom.
This is
Meanwhile, bottom lane, Gunnar.
Solo
This
kill?
is,
oh no.
if that Ice Blast hits, they've got it, but they're not quite able to make it happen. The Sharpshooter connects this time, but it's not enough damage. Meanwhile, back in the top lane, they're just going at each other. The Doom thrown down onto Brax. Can they somehow keep him alive? Husky trying to heal him up with the attendants, and I think it might actually be enough. The Doom's going to wear off, and now Brax may try to turn, but Ocean's not in a hot spot right now in terms of his HP, so... Okay, wow, never mind. He's going back in anyway. Who needs HP when you've got Rolling Thunder? He's going to push his way in. The enchant comes down onto Saberlight as well. They're going to hit him up here with the impetus into the Chakram, into the Timber Chain, and Saberlight will be going down. And now, if you're Brile...
Oh, maybe on Ocean?
There it is.
Oh,
Avalanche
the double.
comes in, tosses there. He's got them both. But now he needs to leave. Yeah, Brile just going to immediately TP out. Brax didn't have any means to cancel it. Neither did Sammy Boy, for that matter. But no reason to take any chances if you're the Tiny. Get yourself out. You picked up the double kill, and he gets away with the spoils. So... yeah, you have to lose Saberlight. That's a bit unfortunate. Your Doom doesn't get the kill onto the Timbersaw, but you're at least able to find those 2 kills afterwards to sort of swing the gold your way a little bit. So, solid play from Brile there to salvage something at the end of it is, yeah, in this middle lane, they're standing directly on top of a ward. So, Brile is not nearly as sneaky as he thinks he is, and does he know the ward is there? He just sort of stood on it and faked out the tree throw a couple of times.
Yeah, I think they've got to know something's up. Unfortunately, Dubu's going to place it, and then does he even get the golden time? Yeah, he'll get to farm up the ward, but yeah, play is dead. And it's just super smooth from Brile, getting those toss plays, stacking him up and sort of knocking him down. And really, I want to see Dubu connect more with these Ice Blasts. That's the 2nd or 3rd time they've been off the mark. And Undying have definitely been getting punished for their burst combos sort of failing. And if they can find Gunnar top, this would be absolutely huge. But they need Brile again to make these plays. We saw Dubu and Moon Meander sort of sticking around each other because, again, they have the burst potential. They would be able to kill this Leshrac, this Pango, if they are playing in sort of these isolated positions. But if they're unable to make these plays, then... again, Sammy Boy is going to farm on his side of the map. He's really undisturbed.
Where?
It's off the map. Yeah.
He just didn't. Okay. Don't see that one very often. Gunner, though, okay. Hit up by the Bushwhack. Saberlight, though, still doesn't
Nice
have the
Yules.
ult, and that, yeah, the Yules dodges the Sharpshooter, and now here comes Ocean in for the Rolling Thunder again. Needs to be able to connect. He does hit up Saberlight, but I don't think
Doom
they
in
actually
one.
want the fight. Yeah, Doom's back up, so they're going to back themselves away. No reason to take a fight under a tier 2 against 2 heroes with Doom at the ready. So they give it a go. They don't get the opportunity they want. They back themselves away safely. All the while, Sammy Boy still farming in the jungle.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Tomato really show up or get aggressive in these fights. I don't know when the timing for him really is, whether or not he goes for that Sanjin Yasha, or if he tries to build up maybe a Butterfly or Scotty, and Moon
Yeah, in some trouble.
might be going down. Yeah.
She's got it. Swashbuckle in there, max level as well, so if
One
you're
bot.
Moonmeander, you're just trying to make a distraction as bottom lane. Yeah, that distraction leads them into attempt onto Gunner, but again, the Ice Blast, it's just not hitting. It's not entirely Dubu's fault. They don't really have quite as much sort of setup for that as you normally would expect, but
They just gotta send it first. They just gotta send it first. They keep on making this mistake, and it's really costing them. And Ryle, okay, he's going in. He might just get Yules after the fact, though.
Gunner.
Oh, Gunner?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know
you're
about
greedy,
this one.
Gunner.
That's too much. You gotta back off.
Oh, God.
Oh my goodness. Gunner, the man knows no fear, but maybe he should know a little bit of fear on that one. He does eventually back away, but that could have gone so bad if he just goes back in for that greedy kill. Speaking of, well, yeah, greedy kills. Brax, I mean, you know that they're still there. He is going to get hit up by the Doom and will be taken down, but Gunner is into the fight. Ocean going forward as well with the Rolling Thunder, so they take down Saberlight. Now they're in on the Tomato, but the TP should be getting him away. Tomato's going to get himself out. Dubu, though, not so fortunate. His TP is canceled by the Yule Scepter. He gets hit up by the Split Earth once he comes back down, and Husky takes him down with the damage from the Impetus. So you don't get Tomato, but that's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in for Zoomer's favor. Very much going to favor them, but you bring down Brax. That's the first time this game, so that's got to count for something. They do finally sort of hit with that Ice Blast, but the sort of consequences afterwards are a little bit rough for Undying.
And it's because they want Moonmeander to play in a lane, get a little bit more farm than he otherwise would, and he's been able to really soak and absorb a lot top, but it feels like you need more damage. You need that hero to make those rotations. And again, if it's just a little bit cleaner, you kill the Leshrac, he isn't able to just sort of respawn, go back to his fountain, TP back, get into the fight immediately. And super unlucky from Tomato. If he has one more bounce, if he has one more Blade Dance proc, then Ocean dies in his own ulti. Instead, he gets immediately stunned out of it, and then the fight gets a little bit risky. But now, for Zoomers saying, fight us. If you're not going to fight us, then we're going to take Roche. And huge Ice Blast is going to make it a little bit harder for them, but I think this is still just going to die a little bit too fast. They got to go in, like, now.
They're trying to get their way over. Smoke comes in.
Big Bushwhack, maybe?
Saberlight doesn't have the ult, but he's the one in front. They're going to try and make a play for it, but Roshan...
You're kidding.
He got it! Saberlight got it, and they killed Gunner. Okay, wow. I honestly didn't think they were really going to get there in time, but they're able to make the play. Saberlight's back up with a second life. He is going to die again immediately, but honestly, at this point, it doesn't really matter. Even if you lose Moonmeander here, I think this play is still fantastic for them. They steal away that Aegis. They take down the Leshrac. Everything else at that point is acceptable losses.
Yeah, and I think Gunner just sort of standing a little bit too close there. It was literally the Bushwhack right as the it went down, and Bryle immediately went for the stun onto the Lesh, got him in the combo. They didn't even have Ice Blast for that. That was just Gunner getting low after that first Ice Blast, still having that hood active as well. He just didn't feel like he needed it. And then Moon, they should have seen him approach with this ward, so I'm surprised they weren't more ready for that Bushwhack play. I know that Brax and Ocean jumped him pretty much as soon as they could, but still, that's pretty big because now you're not going to have the confidence of that Aegis on the Lesh. He's not going to be able to stand as far forward as he otherwise would like to. And you saw even Sammy Boy, he sort of cut and run really early there. I don't know if the plan was to give that Leshrac the Aegis, even though that makes sense, or if Sammy Boy would have wanted it, but he made the not greedy play, and Gunner definitely greeted out for it.
And he's the one who pays, as Moonmeander in some trouble here in the tree line. Ocean's able to hit him up a couple of times. They should have this. Ocean, not hitting with the swashbuckle. Moon, he is somehow surviving this right now, getting himself away, but Gunner, he kind of wants in as well. But this is a lot to commit at this point. This is going to turn into a much larger fight as the Bushwhack, never mind, not going to connect. Tomato's not really going to be able to sort of close ranks and get in there for the kill, but now Bryle wants in onto Husky, hits him with the Avalanche Toss, but Husky with the Untouchable as well as the Nature's Attendant's not dead just yet, but there's going to be that Sharpshooter, and yeah, Husky will be taken down. Tried to TP out there at the last second, but he will be dying. However, his death allows everyone else to get away. Considering that 4 Zoomers had maybe 2 or 3 heroes kind of behind their opponent's tier 2, that's a bit of a feat to get everybody out and only lose the Enchantress.
Yeah, and really, Undying, they're just forcing him out of their base. Their tier 2 didn't take really any damage there, so they're still happy about that. And again, Tomato, he has been untouched. He's got 0 deaths. There's no one that can really stand next to him. He's actually just going for a Blink Dagger next, maybe so he's able to get on those backlines a little bit easier. If he's able to Omni up Ocean and Husky, take him out at those early fights, the Doom's just going to feel so much better. And another Ice Blast going to whiff top, but
This is
okay, just farming.
Characteristic for Dubu to be sort of missing so many of these. He's normally, I mean, a pretty good shot with the Ice Blast, but they just don't really seem to have it right now. Tomato, okay, clipped by the Chakram a little bit, but he's just going to keep on farming. And as you said, that Blink Dagger, very much interesting for him. I think that's part of the reason why he went for this Mjolnir upgrade as well, instead of something like the SNY or the Manta. He is really just looking to jump in onto that backline, maybe put that static charge onto himself as he goes, and then at that point you basically dare 4 Zoomers to try and respond to you and see what you can get. So it will always feel a little bit risky, but based on the itemization here, it really feels like Tomato's not going to have a crazy amount to be sort of worried about here. I don't know if 4 Zoomers are really going to be able to finish him off if he does blink past that front line.
Yeah, and that's where you have to think a little bit about why Sammy Boy went for this Diffusal Blade, whether or not it's just trying to be obnoxious to Tiny, keep him in the fight as long as he can. And Moon did just sort of TP in here, and it looks like he's just going to down. I mean, he's been the first responder for all of these pushes, but still feels pretty bad. And they could just poke at the high ground, force your entire team back, and Undying, they've got to, yeah, start showing up here.
Sammy's got the meta. Yep, there it is. He's just going to push it. So
Ice Blast going to be sent.
Didn't hit up. Ryle in for the avalanche.
The Doom.
Toss. The Doom's there as well, and his TV's in some trouble. Ice Blast coming in as well. Sammy Boy already dead. Gunner, he's next up on the chopping block here. I don't know if he gets away. He doesn't even pop the Yules.
Oh, Brax.
Oh, no, he missed.
Oh, no.
Oh, Brax. Yeah, he's straight up dead. Tomato's going to be able to run him down. That Timber Chain, that had to hit. If he doesn't connect, he's stuck there and dead. So big pickups here for Undying. Bryle is still looking for a little bit more, though. That Blink Dagger's coming back up in a few seconds. He just needs to keep eyes on Ocean, but he's kind of guessing in the wrong direction, looking for the double damage room instead. So he'll give up on the kill. He grabs the DD, but that's still 3 going their way. And for 4 Zoomers, to be honest, that high ground push didn't feel that greedy. It's just that Undying were able to respond faster than 4 Zoomers could sort of react to.
Yep, and it's the toss into the Doom. Saberlight never felt like he was going to get stunned up by that Rolling Thunder. Ocean really just wasn't in a good position to help his teammates, and they got the kill order right. They started off with Husky, then they followed it up onto Sammy Boy, and then everyone else really starts to fall sort of in order after they're hit up by that Ice Blast. You have that Kai Assange built up on the Timbersaw as well, and while that's great, makes you a little bit tankier, don't need to worry about their stuns as much, doesn't help your HP pool nearly as much as sort of getting that completed pipe versus the AA. And we're not even seeing him go for that.
They just
and actually,
straight up push
Rolling
in
Thunder.
for the fight. Saberlight able to pop the BKB though, so he's okay for
Blink.
now.
Yeah.
Ocean's still trying to chase. Maybe he can time this up right
He's
as
got
the BKB
one tick
wears
if he
off.
times it.
Yeah. They will be able to hit it. Gunner's coming in as well, looking for the follow-up, but there's going to be the Ice Blast connecting in onto the Pangolier. He's already dead, so didn't really need it, but Ocean will fall. Saberlight, though, is in some trouble as well, and he should be taken down, but at this point, I don't know if 4 Zoomers can find anything else. Husky, though, leading the charge, going in for the slow. They're going to be able to hit up Moon and Dubu, and they get either one of these kills, though. They're trying to sort of track down multiple heroes. They just need to focus on one right now. They do manage to get Dubu, but now Brow's back in. Avalanche toss is there. Moon Meander's in for the damage as well, and Gunner goes down.
Killed
Tomato.
Sammy.
Yeah. Sammy Boy gets taken down elsewhere in the fight, and 4 Zoomers, they just get 2 split up there. And now Husky, boy, I don't know about this one. He's got a TP, but that's not going to do him a whole lot of good. Brow comes in for the toss. He actually threw Tomato, but the damage is still there, and that goes pretty poorly. It was looking okay at the start, but that sort of secondary fight off to the west where Sammy Boy just gets completely isolated is absolutely terrible. And as of right now, the Juggernaut just wins that sort of man fight.
Yeah, he pops the Mjolnir charger on it. I'm not even sure if he had to spin afterwards or if he just killed him straight up in that Omni, but without the Scotty, this is why the Diffusal, I'm sort of confused a little bit because okay, great. Once Brow goes in, you do have that tool to sort of keep him kited, keep him stunned up, but you just have such a lower HP pool than really your net worth should be showing. If he had the works of maybe Scotty and a Satanic, then afterwards get a Daedalus, I feel like that's the build you want versus both Jug and Tiny, but instead, with this Diffu, it feels like he can 100% get bursted down. And that's also Brow with the bottle DD just absolutely finding the punishments. And again, this is the Tiny. When you see mid-Tiny, this is what you want to see. He has his BKB 27 minutes into the game. He's not struggling to make plays. This is where this hero is just in full power, in full force, and there's really nothing to stop him at this point, except for maybe the Whirling Death, but they're
Still
trying to make him pop his BKB.
Though, yeah.
Ooh, that's
he's
so
not going to get
greedy.
it off. Ooh, Ocean. Okay. Coming in there with the Rolling Thunder, completely locking that one down. Bryle's dead, and Dubu, I mean, yeah. God bless him, but he's not getting out of that one. Brax runs him down for the kill, so good response from 4Zoomers. They're able to get in there. Ocean making the big plays to make sure that that Tiny wasn't going to be able to pop it at first. As you said, I thought they were just trying to take that 9-second BKB charge away, but once they realize he's still trying to hold it till the last second, Ocean recognizes we can just kill him. We don't need to worry about just popping a BKB as Tomato.
Brax
jumping
found
in
a big
onto
one.
Brax.
But the Centaur, holy.
There's going to be the Swift Slash coming out as that Agnum Scepter was finished off, but Brax isn't dead just yet. Maybe Husky can heal him.
I think he's just
not going to
fine.
need to. Wow, yeah, he just lives. Meanwhile, Sammy runs down Saberlight, and they will get the kill. That, I mean, Brax literally just stumbled into that fight. He's able to live. Meanwhile, Gunner picks off Moon Meander down bot, and 4Zoomers, I mean, this is exactly the response that you want after what happened to them over the last couple of minutes, but it's still a little bit surprising that Undying are sort of giving these opportunities up.
Yeah, they just get picked off in 3 lanes. They need sort of a soft reset here on their map. They need to group up, smoke up. Unfortunately, they're not going to have Doom once he respawns, but they don't have meta on the opposing side, so they should be able to still make these plays. But now you have that Scotty sort of being built up by Sammy Boy. He's only a few hundred gold away, and that's something that Tomato always needs to be cautious of in the matchup. If he's not Swift Slashing or Omni Slashing, if he's just spinning around in front of that Terrorblade, he is 100% going to get right-clicked down. He's going to get Solar Crested on the Terrorblade. He's going to just start beating into you. He's got an Enchanted Quiver now, no less, so he just does so much damage. It's something you're always going to need to contend with. And if you don't get these BKBs off before that damage comes through, you don't have really good ways to sort of heal up and reset. Healing Ward's really their best tool, but again, that's not guaranteed. Versus heroes like the Enchantress, like the TB, you're always able to have that attack range to sort of hit it up. In full Scotty finish, this is a pretty strong timing for Zoomers. They had meta, they'd probably smoke up right now, but I think they're both biding their time to see where this Roshan responds.
Yeah, that is going to sort of dictate exactly when and where that next fight goes down. We're only about 20 seconds away from it, though, so Roshan is the next objective. Both teams sort of feeling like they know it's coming. We see Undying just sort of constantly checking out that pit. Tomato now sort of, I don't know. He was pushing up onto the high ground for a moment, thinks better of it. He'll sort of fall back into the jungle to continue farming instead. And now we are finally going to see him upgrade that Yasha. He's just been sort of hanging on to that for
in mid
15 minutes
again.
Lane. Yep, they're going to jump in. They've got Ryle. Can they bring him down? Still no BKB used. 9-second charge is still there. This is just a straight up repeat of the last one. Dooku's going to get caught in the exact same spot that he died before.
And Ocean, can he keep it going? Man, Ocean is just playing so fantastically. And
Blinks
the
himself
double
out.
blink into the stun.
Saberlight.
Oh, wow.
There's going to be the BKB now finally sort of coming out, but I don't know. At this point, it just feels like they might not have the opportunity, but they want it. Doom's in. Okay, they hit up the Timber Saw. The Ice Blast is coming through as well, so Brax may be in some trouble here. Can they? No, they cannot.
Yeah,
Dubu's able to find the kill. I think that Acorn somehow got all the way in there to sort of drop him low enough, but either way, Brax will go down, but Roche respawns.
They're
Sammy's in.
on the jug. Here we go.
Oh boy, here they come. Yeah, smoking their way mid. What can they find here? They have, at least for now, brought an end to that Roche attempt, but they need the fight here as well if they really do want full control over that pit. So Tomato, he's going to push his way forward. They will pop here. And they're in with the Swift onto Husky. Okay, not quite what they wanted. Meanwhile, Ocean and Gunner on the back line, they take Moon Meander down. He's immediately going to buy back, though, looking to rejoin this fight. Tomato now spinning away, but there's that Scotty hitting him up once, getting the slowdown onto him. And Ocean, that was so close. But another Scotty hit comes in. Tomato is still going to have to sort of fall back. And while he does that, Sammy sort of eyeing up the Roche pit, but his teammate might be in some trouble. Gunnar is really wide out in the open there, and that's not going to go fantastically for him. Bryle finds the kill, and Gunnar actually doesn't have a buyback right now, so he's not going to be able to rejoin his teammates, and that honestly may force Zoomers away from that pit. The meta's only got about a third of its duration now as well, and I guess it sort of takes a long roundabout kind of style, but mission accomplished. If you're Undying, you keep your opponents out of the pit.
And really just scary, scary stuff. If he doesn't get that spider legs, if he doesn't have spider legs, he just immediately gets bashed up after the spin. He gets killed in that pit. We're looking at a very different game. But now you're not going to have meta anymore. This TV is going to feel a lot more awkward to try and get in these fights. There isn't a BKB on the Tiny anymore, so he can definitely get punished. But yeah, that's why they're looking for the fight.
All right, they're in onto Sammy Boy. Can they hit him up? They get the Swift into the Omni. Sammy dropping low, needs that Sunder, but he doesn't get it off in time. Sammy's just straight up dead. He doesn't actually have buyback here, so he's gone. Brax is now dead as well. Gunnar did buy back. But
if they catch him, yeah, they're gonna try it.
But there's gonna be the Bushwhacks. Motto blinking forward, looking for the damage. Ocean no, coming in with the Rolling Thunder, trying to sort of keep his teammate alive. Gunnar is still trapped up in the middle of this though, and he will go down. They at least take Tomato out in exchange, but this is still looking a little bit rough. Ocean not really able to connect with that Rolling Thunder any further, and now he's gonna run out of time. He's gotta try and get himself back onto his own side as he will swashbuckle away, but the toss is gonna throw Saberlight into the fight. That may have been a bit of a mistake though. Husky was ready, coming in with the impetus, dishing out the damage, and now if you're Undying, you got to be careful here. You are starting to take maybe a few extra casualties as that Ice Blast will not connect, but the toss is in onto Husky. They'll take him down, but while that happened, Ocean went in for the swashbuckle. There's going to be that roll up into the blink, and Ocean's going to get away. That's still a loss at the end of the day, but you sap away so much of the strength for Undying. It's just Dubu and Bryle. They can't take Roche. They can't push a lane. They've just got to fall back, despite the fact that, technically speaking, they're the winners of that fight.
And it is unfortunate. It felt like he did stay a little bit too long in that fight on the Juggernaut. He didn't get, or rather he wasn't able to get his healing ward off. He was out of his Swift Slash and his spin, so just the punishment. And man, Ocean is such a standout player for his team. He has been doing so much work on this Pango, having those just perfect chain to stables where he's able to get 3 or 4 hits off no contest. And the issue, Sammy respawns faster than the Juggernaut, and even though you were the winners of that fight, you lost your key hero for Roche, and there's nothing that Bryle can do here. It's actually just going to be a Sammy Boy Aegis now.
Aegis Cheese and the Refresher, or excuse me, not the Refresher, the Aghanim Shard as well. So I don't really think Sammy's going to want that. The Zeal's kind of...
And Bryle, he set up.
Just okay, but now, yeah, Bryle, okay.
He's got one more hit
stayed
too.
away. There's the BKB though, okay. He should be getting himself out, needs the Blink Dagger, will be able to get away. Saberlight flings himself over that cliff as well. So they're both going to be able to get away, but they really can't prevent the Roche attempt. So Sammy's got the Aegis, he's got the cheese, he's holding the shard, but as I said before, I don't think he's keeping that. Should be handing that off to somebody else here momentarily. But for Zoomers with a rather sizable advantage now pushing into this next fight. 2 lives up on the TB, and I don't know if he's going to hold the cheese himself either, actually. He might just pass that off to someone like Gunnar or Brax to try and keep them in the fight for a little bit longer. But fact remains, it's something that Undying are going to have to very much sort of take into account when they try to push in again.
Well, now you have a full basher on Ocean. Like, he's just such a monster. He's level 23. I think he's, what, highest level on his team? Yeah. He's just been owning every single person. He had that sort of misplay on the Bryle. They probably could have killed him. He had a closer wall, but maybe not thinking he was able to get the hit off after the curl up. But again, this is a very dominant position to be in. You have the Aegis versus Doom. It's the same feeling you have when you have Aegis versus Void, where we cannot Doom Sammy Boy. We need to Doom these other targets. Unfortunately, they do have other targets, but okay, they're going to have to use both BKBs, though. Oh,
there's
no.
The Sunder. Sammy's still fighting, but okay, they do still bring him down. Good sharpshooter hit in there from Moon Meander, but Ocean, he's just rolling forward, corralling all these Undying heroes back, but the Swift Slash does come in. Brax, though, is just going to charge forward, looking for the damage. They did throw the Doom, however, out onto the Lesh rack, so Lesh is not going to be involved here. Gunnar has to fall back, but Sammy is just able to sort of take it from there. The Aegis gets him back into the fight. The meta's popped, and he's in for the damage. A Saberlight will fall, and the Lesh, he's fine. Doom wears off. He's got the cheese even if he really desperately needs to heal up immediately, but I think this is Zoomer's moment. They're going to push onto the high ground, and that tier 3 tower is pretty rapidly falling here, and if you're Undying, I'm not entirely sure what you do. Saberlight could pie back, but if he does so, there's no Doom. So he's just going to be in there for a little bit of damage and maybe some tankiness. As Bryle, okay, making the move, looking to go in. They've got the Ice Blast coming in. It hits onto, actually, I think no one. And now Bryle, he has to run. Saberlight is buying back, looking to push their way in. They're in onto Gunnar. He already popped the cheese, so he will be taken down, but that damage from Sammy Boy is just so significant. Brax now comes in as well. Bryle will be taken down. A buyback committed there as well, while Tomato goes in with the Swift Slash to take out Brax. So without the Timber and without Gunner's Leshrac, this is really not a fight that Zoomers want any longer. They're going to try to TP themselves out, and looks like everybody's getting away.
Yeah, and it works honestly perfectly. You were able to get on that backline, even though he committed the spin. Sammy Boy was getting kited up, sort of had to tangle with that Moon Meander hoodwink. He had to deal with that bushwhack, and if you're unable to get onto the backline, this AA and hoodwink really are very obnoxious for your lineup. That's where that burst damage is going to come through, and they did exactly what they needed to do. Unfortunately, you did have to buy back on Bryle. Not sure if they're going to be able to force the same amount of pressure, but they're definitely going to be knocking on your front door. We're going to have to see if they can nuke out these waves, really be obnoxious for them, and then they might give up on the push, but here we go. It's Undying's turn to be the aggressor.
Roshan in with a swashbuckler. That's going to take quite a bit of that creep wave away, and Undying, they got the tower. Do they really go for the racks here? They're looking at it. They've got that orb in the hands of the Juggernaut, so they're getting through it relatively quickly as he's going to go for the Blade Fury here as well. He does have that shard upgrade, so it allows him to get a little bit of extra damage there, but the Rolling Thunder will sort of push him back. Ocean going to be able to clear that out, and the melee racks will start to heal up. So Undying, you got a tier 3. You don't force any buybacks, you don't break through the racks, but still, it's a nice sort of swing of momentum back their way, and now they're starting to find up some of those tier 4 items in the jungle. And oh god, speaking of items, Bryle sitting on a Daedalus now. The damage output for this Tiny is going to be pretty significant. He's the one who picks up that horn as well, so he's tanky and he's going to hit insanely hard here.
Yeah, and it's really the counter performances. Is Ocean going to be able to catch you before your BKB? Do you get greedy like Bryle did before, where he BKBs immediately after the Sunder, sort of knows his mistake, and they've got a DD rune bottle on this TB, and we saw yesterday how sort of brutal that'll be. And if you're not careful on this Juggernaut, you 100% can get shredded down, especially if you don't know about this damage coming through. And Gunner, I think, yeah, he's going to be very coy. He's just going to pop it, and okay, immediate glyph, but they still have to be so careful. Where's this Pango?
Andrew TP's in. Ocean, meanwhile, sitting on the back line, holding onto the blink. He knows he's going to have an opening here in this fight. If Undying push forward, and there's going to be the push. Bryle is in. Saberlight actually doomed himself there as that Lotus will reflect it, so he's pretty much out of the fight.
Okay,
but
he's
TB,
dead.
they cut him down. Sharpshooter connects. Bryle's actually going to be the one who gets the kill, I believe, with the tree toss. Either way, though, that is Sammy Boy taken down. Husky's now going to get caught out as well. His TP canceled, and they should be able to finish this one off. Blade Fury gets him in. Bryle's going to be there with the Avalanche as well. That sets off the Cold Feet proc, and Husky will be taken down. That is exactly what they needed. The BKB was popped there, so Ocean didn't really have the chance to jump in. If he goes for the Rolling Thunder, he's not really going to be affecting anyone, and even with Saberlight getting that Doom reflected back onto himself, it reflects, it doesn't cancel. They get that lockdown onto the TB, and they're sort of back in business here. Sammy Boy may very well have to buy back here, but he's not going to have that sort of DD meta play that they were hoping to take advantage of before.
And I really don't think you can afford to buy back on your TV when he doesn't have meta. It absolutely feels terrible, and I'm surprised they didn't have heroes standing in front of him. It feels like that's a get down Mr. President situation, and they're going to chain stun up Tomato here, but the chain ends, and they're just going to start pushing in.
Bryle pushing in, Gunner. Avalanche into toss. Gunner's going to get caught out. The Ice Blast is coming through, but not dead yet. Fuel Scepter keeps him alive, but he's got to fall back, and he's not going to make it. Gunner taken down. No buyback available for him, and so Brax really just to try and hold this with just himself and Ocean, and they're not going to be able to do so. The middle lane of Brax will be taken, and Undying, well, they're thinking about pushing for 2 here, and they should have the opening. Sammy Boy's up in 10.
3 on the Lesh, but still, this feels terrible. It feels like this should at least be a melee Rax. It depends on how greedy they want to get, but without the roll, they should know that there really isn't the control anymore. They're actually just going to greed out for both. Okay, they're just going to go for both fully, and they're not going to get punished either. Wow, they don't want to buy back on the Lesh, so it makes sense on paper, but again, these are the good racks to have. Having mid and bottom just puts all of the pressure away from the Roche pit, so this puts Undying in an incredibly safe position. And now you're also going to have Bryle coming up on his buyback in just 3 minutes. This is a very tough position now if you're in 4 Zoomers. Really just all off the punishment of Sammy Boy going for that aggressive DD play. This game has really taken a 180.
Yeah, just...
Oh, Rax?
This is the thing with the TB, right? Live by the sword, die by the sword. He is your sort of highest damage dealer, but if he goes down, the whole thing's dead. There's really no sort of game plan beyond that point. So when Sammy Boy falls, 4 Zoomers just have to try and retreat, but now here comes the push. Saberlight wants in. Timber, he's pretty tanky here, so they're not exactly going to be able to get him easily, and Ryle, okay, he wants in. He's looking for the TB. He gets the toss back. And Sammy.
Into the Doom.
Oh, that's... nope. That might just be... well, not the game, but certainly the sort of opportunity that Undying want to push in. There's going to be that buyback, though. Sammy is back in. So...
Tomatoes can
didn't
chain.
feel great, but they needed it. And now, yeah, Tomato's getting stunned up. Can they bring him down? Yes, they can. Big kill there for 4 Zoomers, and Undying are now the squad who have to fall back. Tomato is about 200 gold short of his buyback.
And this would be disaster stuff if Roshan respawns in 10 seconds here. They'll immediately use it with the tail end of this meta. There's not much they can do. And Brow, oh, they're picking out top. If they get Gunner...
oh, they want it. Gunner got to be careful. He is going to be able
didn't
to
walk
dodge
into the Ice Blast, but there's no BKB.
Pushback doesn't connect either.
Oh, no, he doesn't know.
Brow
They got him,
sneak
though.
his way in, and yeah, Gunner should not be getting out of this one. He's just going to be taken down. So...
they got Saberlight, though. At the bottom, it feels like everyone's dying. Everybody's getting picked off, but... you use the meta, you got another DD on Sammy Boy, but I don't think you're going to be confident enough to hit that melee racks whenever Raul's still out on the field and that Ice Blast is still available to them. So really, Tomato's death I don't think is going to end up mattering. So again, this is still big wins for Undying.
yeah, they maintain, I guess, the status quo to a certain extent, despite losing a couple of their core heroes. Roshan, meanwhile, still not up for 45, so 4 Zoomers aren't going to be able to just sort of immediately push their way in with Sammy Boy. So... this is all just going to reset. Undying should get their cores back in. They're going to lose the outpost, I suppose, but I really don't think that's too big of a deal. But what could be a big deal is the TB finishing off a Satanic here. If Sammy Boy does get hit up by something like the Ice Blast, then yeah, that's a different story. But if he doesn't get hit by that ult, then he is going to have a hell of a lot more to work with in terms of his overall sort of durability. Both the Satanic and the Sunder would be available to sort of bail him out here. So unless you're just massively stun locking him, it's going to be hard to get this TB again. They've been doing a fantastic job of it so far, but it's not going to be nearly as sort of simple in terms of the game plan.
Yeah, and it just gives him that little bit more HP to work with, even though you are versus AA. If you can outlast, if you can outlive it, then you immediately are going to turn. Just makes him at a higher HP pool when he is decidedly going to be in this pit. But again, with no buyback, if you kill this Terrorblade, the game is going to shift incredibly so. It's going to change completely. And they're going to get the Manta Illusion scouting out. Yeah, they know exactly what's up here.
And they mount
Can Sammy Boy just afford to hit this? It feels so risky, but there's a shard. They're gonna go in any second here. Can Ocean get the initiation?
Rouse in for the avalanche into the toss. They
steal
the
it?
Terrorblade. He's dead.
Oh no.
Sammy is down. They take Roshan. They get the Aegis into the hands of Tomato, and that might just be it. Ocean is going to try to get himself away. The Dual Scepter will buy him some time, but I don't know what they can do without Sammy Boy here. They really do need him. Gunner's going to try and get it done himself, and they take down Moon Meander, but that's just not going to be enough. This is not a good situation for the Leshrac. The Dual Scepter is going to sort of keep him alive for a few extra moments, but it's still not enough. Gunner goes down. Brax falls as well. Ocean is at least going to be able to TP himself home, but actually he TP's down to the bottom lane. Okay, fair enough, but all 3 cores are dead. Only one of them has buyback, and you still got Aegis now on the Juggernaut. This is really just your moment. If you're Undying, push down that final lane of Rax, get the Megas, and really just put a stranglehold on this game.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, where is Ocean? What's he doing? He's not able to find that initiation. They didn't have the ward really on the high ground here. If they had a ward scouting out those heroes walking in, maybe he makes that roleplay just a little bit sooner, because it felt like they were just waiting for Undying to go on them. And they have the Ice Vortexes. They know Roshan's HP to the T. And oh, if he got a toss back there, that would have been the game. But this is still just Megas. I don't think you can put up a defense without these heroes, and for what a great performance Ocean has had, it feels like this is all just not going to matter.
Yeah.
Here we go. Oh, cancels the roll, but yeah, they're just going to suck it up, take the Megas on the chin, try to defend their tier 4s, but still, it feels so awful now for the position you're in if you're Zoomers. Oh,
gonna get
there's the toss.
Tossing him back. Dual Scepter, though, buying a little bit of time. Not enough, though. Gunner taken down. That was his buyback, yeah. They have no cores up right now. Tier 4s have been exposed. The Mega Creeps are acquired, and I don't know. I mean, Sammy Boy's going to be coming back in. They've got Timber up in 10, so maybe they can make one last attempt at a fight, but it really just doesn't seem like it's going to be all that fantastic. And this whole time, Saberlight, he's still been holding on to this Refresher Shard, so if you really do try to make the play, he is still going to have that Doom available. So 4 Zoomers really are in a bit of a bad way here.
Okay,
as
the Hex, they didn't know about it.
The Hex. Sammy Boy fighting his way through this. Browl dropping low. Cheese will be popped, though. Saberlight wants into the fight. He doesn't deploy the Doom, and he might actually go down here, as he will indeed die. So Saberlight taken down. Dubu in some trouble as well. Ocean's going to be able to lock him down. They're going to need more than that, though. They need to get onto Bryle and Tomato here, but Bryle is actually the one doing the initiating. Ocean dropping low, but the Swashbuckle is going to get him away. He is still holding onto a Yules as well, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. He needs a Swashbuckle immediately, but he still can't outrun Tomato, so he's able to find that kill. Ocean buying back. Saberlight back in as well. They get the Hex down onto Tomato. He's dead. That is going to be the Aegis, though, so he's coming back up. But now Undying realize they need all hands on deck here. They're committing the buybacks as well as they get the toss back onto Sammy. He needs the Sunder, but he's actually going to get hit up by the Doom instead, so he's not dead yet. Maybe he can survive this DOT. No, he can't. He's going to die.
He's one tick away. That's so unlucky. And I think now, Bryle, they're all so low, but I don't think this is going to matter.
Fighting like hell here on the side of 4 Zoomers, though, not willing to go down until everybody's dead, but it's looking like they're starting to run out of time. Ocean's going to get hit up. He'll be taken down. Brax going to get stunned as well, and that's it. Yeah. Brax will fall, GG out, and Undying able to take game 1. They had to put a lot of effort in for it, but they are able to hand 4 Zoomers just their 3rd match loss of this event as they take the first game of this best of 3.
Yeah, and standout performances, I think, from Tomato and Bryle. You had Moonmeander setting up on those side lanes a lot of the time. I feel like he was always in those trees. He was playing his hero really to its maximum capabilities. And really, it's that one high ground push where he sticks his neck out a little bit too far, and immediately, Undying, they go for the cut, they find him, they pick him off. Nobody was standing in front of the sharpshooter, maybe just the inexperience of playing versus that hoodwinked. They immediately get punished for it, and I feel like after that one little misplay, Undying pushed every single advantage they had. They immediately got that Roche, they immediately pushed it down, and again, 4 Zoomers for the second time they're getting the Aegis snatched out underneath their feet just because they're not set up. They don't have those heroes ready in those defensive positions. They're not ready to get that counter initiation. Just, it feels like they were one step behind that tiny blink, and both times the repercussions were felt just wholeheartedly across the map, where now Sammy Boy said without buyback, we lose our top racks, we lost this Aegis, and Undying, it wasn't clean for maybe the first 15-20 minutes. Bryle wasn't really getting shut down, but you weren't able to make those easy plays with the Ice Blast, a little bit off the mark. But I think 25 minutes onward, Dubu really started hitting the mark. He started hitting those key Ice Blasts. They started killing these heroes. And Undying, they really started realizing that pecking order, who they needed to kill first, getting these targets down. But really, for me, it just comes back to those 2 Roche fights where it felt like they didn't have the knowledge, they didn't have the vision, and they just let themselves get sort of slaughtered in the pit. And Undying 100% are going to press their advantage after that. So really, just those two or three little misplays that spelled disaster for him on the 4 Zoomer side.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've mentioned it so often here. Anytime you go for that sort of late game hyper carry kind of situation, even one death on that hero can spell absolute disaster for your entire squad. Sammy Boy, really just case in point. He dies a couple of times there. They lose Roshan in multiple sort of instances, and that sort of just completely ends up tying 4 Zoomers' hands behind their own backs there. They just don't quite have the means, and I don't know, to a certain extent, it felt like the game plan in some of those Roche situations was, we have Sammy, he's on a TB, we get to take Roche, and they didn't really seem to maybe have quite the respect for Undying sort of coming in and looking for that counterplay, and unfortunately, the counterplay is there, and 4 Zoomers pay the price. So, as we said before, it's just the 3rd match here that 4 Zoomers have dropped in this event. It puts them down 0-1 in this series, but they do have an opportunity to fight their way back into it. Game 2 is going to be coming up in a little bit here. We have yet to see any series in this playoff run go to a Game 3, so 4 Zoomers are going to have to be the ones to sort of snap that streak, break that trend if they want to reach that sort of grand final. Otherwise, a second loss here would drop them down into that lower bracket. So we are going to be hopping into a bit of a break here. When we return, though, it will be Game 2 of the upper bracket final, 4 Zoomers versus Undying for that spot in the grand final tomorrow. So stick around, folks, and we'll be back in just a little bit.